Welcome to Marvel Champions podcast about Marvel Champions, the card game. I'm your host, Scott, and with me as always, my co-host, Ryan.
Yes, and we are coming at you with the last hero of this apocalypse saga.
That's right, everybody's favorite smart, hairy X-Man. Who's that, Ryan?
Beast,
Hank McCoy.
Yes, the final hero.
Ryan, quit teasing the people.
Wait a second. This guy's not Beast.
He's 50 shades darker.
No, he's the creative name of Dark Beast.
Dark Beast. The fourth villain in the Age of Apocalypse box, Ryan.
That's right. It's we finally got Beast. But the question is it the Beast people wanted, or is it the Beast that we deserve?
It's a good question. I was just looking at his cards, and he's a pretty ripped little dude. He's just busting right out of that lab coat there.
I don't know. It's kind of has like this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of feel to it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's a Bonesaw. So he could be Bonesaw.
Bonesaw is ready!
You mean Bonesaw?
He's ready! Yes, that Bonesaw. You didn't know he was a Marvel Champion, but he is.
Now, does Dark Beast have like adamantium, like skeleton stuff in his skin? Because he's kind of got like metal stuff in his arm. You see that?
Down around his wrists? I don't know.
Yeah, almost like a Omega Red type thing.
I don't know. In his main scheme, his pants look really shiny. I don't know what that's all about.
It's in the future. I mean, he's got the silver pants with his weird brush thing.
It looked like his bottom half was like Colossus, and he just like put his top half of his body onto Colossus's lower half. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that works. That's how it's done. I don't know.
Enough speculating.
All right. Dark Beast. That's right. Fourth villain. How do you want to start it off? Should we talk about the scheme or the villain first?
Let's start with the scheme. I think the scheme's pretty. It's one of those where it doesn't do much. It's just there, right? It's that aspect of the game that's always mostly there.
Yeah,
I think he's got so much else going on that it really is just kind of there.
Yeah, it's just the kind of the traditional scheme out lose condition. But that's it. There's no special abilities or anything like that.
Yeah, I think the 1A setup is probably the special list. Actually, it's not even that. It's on his hero or his villain card, so... Yeah,
yes,
it's just there. Threshold of 10 per player. I think it's pretty good. I think depending on some of the things that we're going to talk about in a minute can affect that. But I think it was in a good spot. In the games we played, I don't feel like it was ever really like, oh, we're gonna get real close to dying or anything. So I think it was good.
Yeah, I think it was just kind of a background thing to always just remember if that ever comes up, kind of thing. But overall, not that important in this scenario.
Yeah, and it's pretty much the standard 1 per player increase, which I don't know. There's some of those where it's 2 per player. It just seems like it ramps significantly more when it's at 2 instead of 1. So I do like that it's just the 1 per player increase each turn.
Yeah, I mean, scheming's not necessarily his focus, so it makes sense to do 1.
Well, and then he's intelligent, right? So his scheme is at least 2 or higher for all of his forms.
Yeah. But let's talk about those. So yeah, he's his 1, 2, and 3 stages are pretty standard for a 4. set villain, so he's got a 2 scheme, 2 attack. His next one, he's got 2 scheme, 2 attack. And his third, it's only 3 scheme and 2 attack. He doesn't have a whole lot of attacking. There's Scott.
Well, that's where his little forced interrupt star comes into play.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he plays... So, I guess let's pause for a second and talk about the theme of the scenario.
Okay, I think that's important. You're right.
The theme is you're chasing him down, right? He's trying to go find Apocalypse so you can bring him back or whatever timeline, and you're kind of chasing him through time portals. And because of that, you have the potential to have all these environments and these different locations and areas that kind of play to this, how this scenario is going to work. And you have 3 options, right? You have Blue Moon, Genosha, and the Savage Land, or I guess technically Savage Land. And depending on which environment's in play, because each of those has an environment and then a set of encounter cards, depends on what that forced interrupt does, known as the special on the setting environment.
Yeah. And I think we do have to mention, because I'm sure someone will bring it up, the name of the main scheme is Dark Beast's Bogus Journey, which I think is a reference to Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted.
And that's right. So you have these 3 encounter sets that are included. They've got settings with special on them, and they all kind of, and we'll talk more about them. But that's the big thing about his scenario. He attacks you, and he activates whatever setting special is going on, which generally means not good for you.
Yeah, it's just like one extra thing on top of, a normal bad guy villain kind of vibe thing going on.
Yeah. And it's probably important to mention he doesn't have a whole lot of cards in his encounter set. And he doesn't do a lot of damage, but he has 3 copies of a card that basically is a attack you or scheme type card. So he will attack you potentially 2 times, maybe more, depending on what's going on. But he's not a big...
Yeah, he's kind of one of those nickel and dime you to death kind of villains. Because he is trying to activate more to get those specials to go off, to kind of get that chain reaction combo going.
Yeah. And I think because he has the small encounter set, he is kind of hoping to scheme and start getting acceleration tokens. Kind of like almost like a stall tactic, trying to stall you out a little bit until the actual main scheme becomes something of a threat.
Right. Or you, as a player, think, I need to go down and kind of take a breather for a round, where that'll give him the bigger kind of scheming, potentially an encounter card that makes him scheme again, or he'll have a boost. He's got an attachment that increases his scheme.
Yep.
I mean, the only upside to that is, I guess, the forced interrupt is only when he attacks. So there is that slight benefit. So all those setting environment specials aren't triggering.
Yeah. And just kind of looking over his different stages, there really is no difference. They all have that force interrupt, so that doesn't change. And the first stage has a when reveal a random set aside environment and shuffle the rest into the encounter set. Let me rephrase that. Reveal a random set aside environment and shuffle the rest of its encounter set. You don't shuffle the other encounter sets in. And then when you go to 2 and 3, it's basically you reveal another one and do that with the addition of deal each player an encounter card.
Okay.
And that's it. Really nothing special going on.
Yeah. So this leads me to my first question. So you play standard, it's 1-2. You play expert, it's 2-3, right? So you're only ever going to have the potential to see 2 of these 3 environments.
Correct.
What was your take on that, or feeling on that mechanism, where you're only going to see 2?
Personally, I did not like it. I have a feeling. I have feelings on this scenario. I don't know if it's best to do it now or later, but I'll let you decide. But what I will say is, you have to have these 3 encounter sets, and it would be nice to be able to see all 3, but you only get to see 2, so there's really not much difference. And I guess maybe you like replayability. Oh, I can play it again and maybe get a different combo, but there's only 3. I mean, not a whole lot of difference.
Okay, well, be a real man, bottle those feelings up, and we'll not talk about it for the rest of the podcast. Now, well, we can, I guess, delve into your insecurities as a man-child a little later in the podcast. So,
I mean, if you want me to go all out right now, I'll do it. I'll do it, man. I'll
you
do
bottle
it.
them up, man. Now we can talk about that. Just don't forget now. Okay.
Oh, I believe me, I won't.
Okay. All right. So yes, you're only going to see 2 of the 3. Yeah, we'll talk about that more. Why don't we shift gears and talk about some of his encounter cards before we go into each of the environments or modulars?
All right. The one. Do you mind if I go real quick?
No, go ahead.
The one I wanted to point out that I liked was time travel shenanigans. It's a side scheme. It's only 2 per player, so it's not that much, and it has an acceleration icon. The big thing is, when defeated, the player who defeated this scheme discards cards from the top of the encounter deck until they discard a card from the same encounter set as the setting environment and reveals that just discarded card. So I like it because it plays into that whole thing of trying to build on those encounter sets that are being thrown in of the like whatever time you're in, and it goes towards that acceleration icon, whether on the card or decking out with the encounter set. So I think it's a good card that really makes his wheels turn in this scenario.
So I thought you were going to go with the treachery, and I was going to go with this one just because it has the word shenanigans in the title. So, okay, touche. No, I agree. And you get the like added bonus that if the card, it's a revealed card, so if there is a win revealed on that card, you got to deal with that too.
Yes, yeah.
So I do like that. So since you're not talking about it, I'll talk about Evil Genius. He has 3 copies of that, and it's kind of your standard assault and advance comboed into one. So if you're an alter ego, he schemes. He also gets tough. If you're in hero form, he will attack you, and you give him an additional boost card for that attack. So no fun. Bigger, stronger hitting attack. Plus you got to deal with the special in the environment. And then if you're scheming, it's just more schemed, and he gets tough, and you got to deal with tough. So
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Yeah, and there's 3 copies, and I mean he only has a handful of cards anyway, so the likelihood you're going to see that a couple times in a game is very high.
Yep.
I say we look at, he's got your kind of standard villain attachment for scheme and attack. They give him +1 either. I guess my question to you is, how do you like the mechanism to remove his attachments? We've seen in this box so far a lot of like kill the villain to remove the attachments. This one's set up a little different. What do you think about that?
I thought it was fine. The whole thing is it involves that special, activating that special. I hate that you have to exhaust your hero to do it. It's not terrible.
So do you think that cost of exhausting your hero is high?
I think it is, but I think that's on purpose.
Well, yes, I agree. I definitely agree it's on purpose, but I think the other side of that is I think it's a little hero dependent, right? If you have a hero that doesn't care to be ready or not, what they do doesn't matter for being ready, then I don't think it's as big of a deal. But if you've got a hero that their basic action of some kind is the key to their everything, then yeah, it's definitely that.
I think just the fact that it's only +1 and there's no additional benefits to the card, it's kind of trying to make the cost high to get rid of it. That way it just stays on and makes him tougher.
It makes you as a player make that internal decision of, do I just let it sit? And is the +1 of scheme
really worth it?
Or attack worth it, right? Yeah. Decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So, is in traditional campaign box form, I guess not all of them, but sometimes hero or villain scenario 4 is very minion heavy, Ryan. And Dark Beast is no exception to that. He is
no exception.
Minion heavy, and so his last attachment attaches to minions. Did you feel like this one hit a lot? Did it whiff? What do you think?
I mean, it hit because it always hits.
Right.
Because the whole thing about that is it's a +1 scheme and attack, and you attach it. Or no, yes. No.
Well, it has a win revealed, and then you attach it. Yeah.
Yes, you have to. It doesn't matter if there's minions already out. You discard from the encounter deck until you discard a minion. So it could, in theory, peter out if the deck
is low,
runs empty. But that's probably not going to happen a ton, and so it's going to pop those out, and that's going to be nasty.
Yeah, no fun.
And then it says reveal that minion, so any when revealed effects is going to come into play.
It's true. What do you think about the art on that one?
I think it's good. I think it's cool. It's got the infinites on there, but
oh yeah,
I'm not sure what he's doing with like
injecting
scissors,
fluid
syringe.
Yeah, so he's like some forceps with a needle syringe thing, and then like a taser looking doodad. So yeah,
I don't question.
Yeah,
I mean he's the doctor here.
That's right. He didn't go to evil medical school for all those years just to be called Dark Beast. He's Dr. Dark Beast.
Doctor.
Doctor. Yeah, so.
All right, man, shall we go into the encounter sets?
Yeah. I don't think there's much more with Beast. Yeah, that's it.
No, that's it. He's pretty straightforward.
Okay. So why don't
now
there's
his
three of
encounter
them.
Sets, they do add some complexity.
There's two of us and three of them. So do you want to take one? And I'll take another one?
Let's do it. Now, do you have a preference on... Should we do it where we just choose one, or do you want to choose your favorite one?
I'm going to choose my favorite one, because after playing it a few times, I've had one it's really annoying, but it's become my favorite.
I think I know what it is, because it might be my favorite one.
No.
Go. Yes, I agree. Go for it.
Okay, so I want to say in one of our first playthroughs, I can't remember, that we didn't see it, and then through subsequent ones, it came up. So I really like and found it very annoying and playing well as the game was Genosha.
Ding, ding. That's a correct answer.
So I'll start with the environment. Genosha. It's a location setting. You set it up. The villain gains steady, which I know it's there for a reason, but I'm just not a huge fan of steady. And then the special is place one threat on the main scheme. So not too bad if he's revealing his or activating, and force response is just one threat on the main. It's doable.
Mm-hmm.
When revealed, discard each other setting. They all have that. So, all right, we've got 5 minions, and then you've got an attachment that attaches to your identity, and then a side scheme. So why don't you tell me one of your favorite of the minions?
I think I like Armored Unibike probably the most. So Armored Unibike, he's a minion with 4 health, 1 scheme, 2 attack. Armored Unibike engages the player with escape mutant attached if able. So it can switch if escape mutant moved around. And then force response. After armored unibike attacks, resolve this special ability on the setting environment. And that's the one thing I like about this one is if it's out, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's activating the Genosha settings special. It can be any of the encounter sets special.
Correct, because Genosha could not be the environment in play at the time. I guess.
What do you mean?
Armored Unibike just could be part of the encounter deck, but another environment could be in play.
Yes.
And it's activating the special, whatever the current environment is.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
okay, we're on the same page. Cool.
You just said it with fewer words. So I think I probably should have started out with Escape Mutant, the attachment that attaches to your identity. This one's no fun. I felt like it kept coming out like quite more than I thought it would. It's Escape Mutant, attached to your identity. Each Genosha minion that engages you gains Quick Strike, and to get rid of it, it's an alter ego action. Resolve the special on the setting environment in play, then you can discard it. Which is never fun.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is why I felt like it always came back into play. Because of the minion Magistrate.
Yep.
He is a 2/2, 3 health minion that has patrol that says when defeated, the defeating player finds Escape Mutant and attaches it to their identity.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a pretty little beefy Magistrate little minion. 2/2's not fun to deal with, 3 health. Then you got to deal with Escape Mutant. So I like that. It was constantly coming out, constantly interacting with this encounter set.
Yeah.
It was good.
I think one of the reasons I like Escape Mutant, and I mean, I agree, I think it comes out and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got it again kind of thing. But it's easily gotten rid of. You just have to be an alter ego and do an action and just resolve the special. And that's it. And then you're done. So it's easy to get rid of. I guess it depends on your hero, but in general, it's not difficult. You don't have to exhaust or discard cards from your hand. But the fact that it keeps coming out and it just benefits, I think it's a good balance between just how the encounter set flows. Right. It's not too hard, but it's not too easy. It's like a good pace.
Yeah. The side scheme pretty much does the same thing of fetching the attachment. Escape Mutant.
Yeah. Police
State. It's a base of 2 scheme, hinder 1 per player. When defeated, the player who defeated the scheme finds Escape Mutant and attachment and reveals it. So, no fun. It also has a hazard icon. So, to make that decision, well, do I just want to leave it out and deal with having the hazard icon, or do I, go ahead and bite the bullet and worry about the Escape Mutant?
Yeah.
Because the other thing is, you're now gaining Quick Strike on all these minions. Or all these minions are gaining Quick Strike on you.
Yeah. I will say, out of all of them, I think the special on the Genosha setting is the best one to have out, if you can get it.
Easiest one to deal with, is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, I think so.
If I play a game of Dark Beast, Genosha's one of them that I want to come out, because I feel it's more manageable.
Sure. And then one random thing before we close the Genosha. There's one other minion, Genosha Mech. He's just kind of the beefier guy. So
yeah.
The armored unibike, that one's fun because if you revealed it and I had Escape Mutant, then it would actually come over and engage me and then quick strike me.
I think that's happened before.
Yeah. So
I think you got it and I had Escape Mutant and it came to me.
The interactions with this one I liked. I thought it was very well developed and thought out, and I think it translated well to actual gameplay.
Yeah, this is where I feel like the theming actually made sense with the modular set, and I think they all flow together, and they can still benefit in other circumstance, but they really work well together in doing what it wants, and it's not necessarily getting rid of supports or, killing allies. It's something different. It's wanting to get this attachment onto someone so that it can do more things. And that's fun.
Yeah. All right, Ryan. Do you want to look at some cool X-Men-esque characters or Dino DNA?
Well, since you picked Generation, that was my favorite one. The other one I did like was Dino DNA,
Okay.
the Savage Land.
All right. Why don't you tell us about some Savage Land, Ryan?
Yeah, this one is fun. As in, I hate that the villain gets Retaliate 1 on the setting. And the special is discard the top 3 cards of your deck, and that's also not necessarily great. This one, it might be the hardest one. I don't know. Blue Moon has some tough ones, but I feel like Savage Land was pretty rough when I played with it. It's got, just like the other two, it's got multiple minions. It's got the Velociraptor, which has got Quick Strike. It's got the Great Ape, which I feel is a little weird because it has an ape and these are all dinosaurs, but...
It's a giant ape.
Oh, sorry. I guess that makes it prehistoric.
King Kong, yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. It's got Guard, and it does stuff with the setting. This one has a Treachery instead of an attachment, and it also does some nasty things. And of course, it has a side scheme. But
Okay.
What?
You're just like nonchalantly like, there's a card in this encounter set, and it does items. Okay.
I mean, I let the players find out all the individual things, but yeah, I mean, it kind of just does the same thing as Genosha without the fun part of the escape mutant.
Okay. Yeah. This one is you can kind of look at the theme of everything. It's like, when this thing does this, reveal or resolve the special. When you defeat this, resolve the special, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. What does the Treachery do? Land before time?
I think that you're about to get us copyrighted right there.
Land before time?
Yes. Yes, land out of time. Let's see, what does it do? You resolve the special, and you do an additional stuff. You take some more damage. So, actually, that's how it is pretty bad.
Well, this one goes and fetches it. So if it's out, you resolve the special and then take indirect damage for each resource icon on the cards discarded. So that's awful. And then if it's not out, you go find it and reveal it. So yeah, that one's no fun. And it's got 3 boost icons.
Yeah. I will say the side scheme on this Village Under Attack, it has that crisis icon, which I think it is pretty good for what it's trying to do. But that's pretty nasty because the whole thing with Savage Land is trying to discard cards from your deck, but it's also kind of moving up the... I guess it's not really moving up the encounter set, huh? Well, I guess it is because it's wanting to deck you out as well. So
It's wanting to deck you out to put more encounter cards down to just make your life awful.
Yeah.
And none of them are super beefy, right? The Pterosaur has 4 health, the Velociraptor has 3, the Giant Ape has 5. They're all hitting for 1 plus 2 and 3. So
Yeah.
they're mostly, you're just getting frustrated because you're discarding probably all your good cards.
Yeah.
Unless you're like have a discard deck, you're playing like Domino, and it's like, oh, I can just put that in my hand. Oh, cool, I can just put that in play.
Yeah. Now, my question for you is, like Genosha, it has a theme, and the theme makes sense with the cards. What do you think the theme of Savage Land is, and does it make sense with the mechanism it's going with?
The retaliate or the discarding of the cards?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think theme in relation to the scenario. I don't really find the connection. I think theme-wise, this is probably one of the more ones that just kind of lack it. Unfortunately, I think part of it is very name recognition, so it's kind of thrown in because it's the Savage Land. And
So now here's a question. I was just thinking about it. This whole thing's about like time travel, right? So are they time traveling back to the Savage Land, even though the Savage Land looks like this in current time?
I don't know. Because what is his card is time travel shenanigans? Yeah, so you are time traveling based off of his card.
And I assume Genosha's
that's like a dystopian future. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
See, that's the weird thing is. Okay, I'll save it.
Bottle it up, Ryan.
I'm gonna bottle it up. Gonna just let it, and I'll shake it up, and then it'll explode.
Just let it go everywhere. Yep. All right. Anything else with the Savage Land?
No, I'm ready to move on to my favorite song, Blue Moon.
I've got one final thing with Savage Land. Do you feel that as a dinosaur, the raptor gets a bad rap for always just like being the like mean, vicious dinosaur that it is?
I do. I think it gets hated on a lot. But you know what? The Velociraptor, it's a little misunderstood. It always has friends with it.
It does. It's always got friends.
It's always got friends. It's a very social creature.
That's right. You get out there, you social butterfly.
It's just trying to make friends, and you're the one that starts shooting at it. You clever girl.
I knew you were going there.
No, that's what we got to do.
All right, well, why don't you take us to the Blue Moon, Ryan?
All right, Blue Moon. Blue area of the moon is the setting. Each minion gains guard. That one's not too bad.
No, I guess you got to deal with them, right?
You just got to deal with them, and they're a little chunky. Special, deal 1 damage to your identity. That part stinks. Because it is identity. So much for hiding in your alter ego.
Yeah, Dark Beast won't really do much to you in alter ego, but these minions on the Blue Moon will. So, it's no fun.
Yeah, these Blue Moon minions are a little rougher, because of course it's got Gladiator, the strongest being in the universe.
Okay.
Isn't that what he is? He's the strongest being in the universe?
Sure.
I feel like he's like never been defeated. Maybe I'm getting confused.
You should do your homework.
Yeah, well, I probably should.
I always remember him from the 90s cartoon. I always thought he was pretty cool.
Well, I mean, he's even in the new X-Men 97.
The new. All right, what special are we going to do these one at a time, or are we just going to go through them real quick?
I don't think we have to do every single one. But the big thing about them is they're a little chunkier, so their stats are more varied. The strongest being Gladiator. He's a 2 scheme, 3 attack, 6 health. But they all have teamwork, so there's a potential that they may try to gang up on you.
It's no fun. I feel like these also status effects and things to you. So like Oracle, when revealed on this one, you're confused. And if you're already confused, then you got to resolve the special. Manta, when revealed, you're stunned. If you're already stunned, you got to deal with the special. So those are no fun when revealed. Because like we've talked about, a lot of the things that are putting extra minions into play are revealing them. So you've got to deal with those when revealed effects, which stinks. It's like, why can't you just be put into play?
I do like the treachery on this one. The Imperial Guardsman says attached to a minion, otherwise this card gains surge. And it's a title. Attached minion gets +4 hit points and gains the Imperial Guard trait. So in theory, if let's say are, since we talked about Velociraptor, if Velociraptor's out and this card comes out, it can become a Imperial Guard Velociraptor and help with the teamwork, which I think is pretty cool.
Now, it wouldn't... See, well...
It would trigger teamwork because it says teamwork Imperial Guard.
No, only the trait is Imperial Guard. The teamwork is 4 other Imperial Guards, but it would trigger the teamwork if a actual Imperial Guard came out and the Velociraptor was already out.
Yeah, already out. Okay, so that makes sense, but it still helps with it.
Yes, it makes the teamwork more likely. Yes, you're all right. And I never thought about that. An Imperial guarded Velociraptor sounds cool.
That does sound cool. But other than that, I never saw that happen, so it's not going to happen very often.
You have like a 33% chance of it not happening just because the Savage Land may not be part of your game. Or like 100%. Because it's never going to happen. So
that's true.
But you could have a unicycle bike or whatever they're called, armored unibike, could be Imperial Guard.
That's true.
All right, Trial by Combat.
Yes.
Side scheme. When defeated, shuffle each Imperial Guard minion in the encounter deck discard pile into the encounter deck. Oh, it has an amplify icon. Base 2, hinder 1. They're all that way. That one's no fun. I mean, I guess if none have been discarded, it's not that big of a deal. But if you kind of mashed your way through all these minions and reset them all back in the encounter deck and like stacking that to where each of those is more likely to, and they've all got, let's see, though there's 3 cards with 2 boost icons, 2 with 1 boost icon, and then Gladiator has a boost star. So, yeah, that's no fun to have to shuffle them back in and then deal with all their win revealed. Because we didn't talk about Earthquake. He exhausts you, which is no fun. And if you're already exhausted, then you got to deal with Special. And then War Star, you discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card is an Imperial Guard minion, you reveal it. Otherwise, resolve the Special. And then that one, if it did hit, would teamwork against you, which would be no fun.
Yeah, not bad. It's I think this is probably the hardest minion set.
My only thing with the teamwork is a lot of the other teamwork sets that we've seen, the teamwork is trying to get them to activate extra, to activate like an attack forced interrupt or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where these, it's just like an additional attack or an additional scheme. So I don't find this teamwork even that bad as well.
Yeah,
because their win revealed effects are their, what you're not looking forward to.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of an additional thing that they tacked on because they are a team. They're the Imperial Guard, so
sure,
might as well add it. But yeah, it's the main effect of teamwork isn't in play because there's no like force interrupt or something.
Yeah, but overall, I think theming wise, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's the second best of these theme-wise and the
2 out of 3
mechanisms they're going with.
Imperial Guard. So I have one final question. Look at Trial by Combat.
Okay.
In the bottom left corner, there's a pretty pronounced thing. What do you think that thing is?
Pronounced thing in the bottom left
There's
corner?
a character. What is that character? Like, what is that character? Is it a dog person? Is it like a rat person? What is
I was going to say like a dog, but it almost looks like... I'm going to go with the dog. Maybe like an Anubis type thing. That's a jackal, but...
Close enough. A canine bipedal creature thing? Gorilla dog thing, I guess? I don't know.
Gorilla dog thing.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I think we're ready to move on to final thoughts.
I have one final Blue Moon.
No, we're not. Blue Moon.
Have you ever seen this Earthquake character before?
No, he looked very generic to me.
Okay, I'm just making sure it wasn't me. All right, you can proceed.
No, I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's what the typical Roswell, New Mexico alien looks like.
Yeah. Earthquake. Got it.
He must be new to the group.
That's right. He's the new guy. He's the rookie.
Yeah, he hasn't got a cool outfit.
We need a generic rookie. Yeah, right. That doesn't have a cool outfit yet. You just are just giant blue naked thing.
Yeah, he hasn't graduated to a cooler name. You have Gladiator, Oracle, Manta, War Star, Earthquake. Can you not be Ground Shaker?
Yeah, I'm with you. Poor guy. I mean, everybody's got to start somewhere, I guess.
He's also not wearing any clothes, so...
Where's his pants?
You know what? He was getting his new uniform, and then he was called into action.
That's right. This random portal opened up, and all these people came flying out of it. And he was just caught with his pants down.
He was using the restroom, and... blessed Earthquake.
That's funny. All right. Sorry to sidetrack you, Ryan. Let's segue.
That's a good segue. Do you have a good segue?
No, I was waiting on you to segue.
Oh. Oh, right. Segue. So you want me to go into my... should I open that bottle?
Let's just go ahead and... I'll go ahead and give you permission to start opening and, pulling those Band-Aids off and just tearing all those stitches off, yeah.
All right. So I need to start off by saying I think as a scenario, it is fine. But I feel it did not live up to its potential. I think there's aspects of a fun scenario, and it just, to me, just kind of was bland, and it did not live up to that hype.
Okay. So a lot of potential, but just kind of didn't hit the marks as you think it could have.
Yeah. So I have two major points. Number one is theming. It's supposed to be some type of machine thing, and he goes through time and you're chasing him down. None of the encounter sets really reflect time to me. I mean, Savage Land, yeah, it's prehistoric, but that's the Savage Land. It's always prehistoric. So True. It doesn't feel like they should have just named it something different. Maybe just call it the Jurassic Era or something like that instead of Savage Land, and save Savage Land for another encounter set that has an ally that has the dude in I forgot his name. Kazar, thank you. Mm-hmm. I think that would have been better. Genosha, is this supposed to be the future Genosha? And mutants are enslaved?
Yeah, an apocalyptic future where, mutants
But I feel like that's probably what's currently happening in, the storyline of, the alternate apocalypse. So I don't feel like that's time travel. And then Blue Moon, it's just on the moon.
It's true.
Maybe I'm missing something comic-wise or something. But it's just, you're just hanging out with the Shi'ar Empire now. So I don't feel like there's really time travel. I wish they would have done prehistoric and then the 40s, in the middle of World War II, and then a future or something with flying cars. I think Genosha has the most futuristic, but I think they missed the mark on the encounter sets. I think they could have been more timey. That could have been fun. Almost like how the Mojo has those settings. Not settings, there's channels. Yeah. I think you could have done something like that.
TV genres, yeah.
Yeah. So I think they missed the mark on that, personally. Again, I think the scenario is fine mechanically. And then, should I keep going with my point two?
Might as well just rip that Band-Aid right off.
My point two is, I feel like you're chasing him down, right? That's the whole story. And I don't feel like you're chasing him down. I feel like you just go to a time, and it's just, it felt more like a Mortal Kombat level where you're fighting and then you can knock them off the stage or through a wall and you just go to a different level.
Part of the same level.
Yeah, it's the same game, just with a different look to it.
Okay.
Granted, the setting changes, and so, he can get steady or he can get retaliate, fine. But overall, the experience felt the same. And it would have been nice to have, I think this would have been a great opportunity that he's trying to run away from you and you're having to chase him down and you got to get to him before he jumps through the portal and you lose him for good. So I feel like there should be some type of pressure put onto the scenario. But as it is, there's no pressure. You can kind of just chill in whatever setting for a while until you beat him and then you go on to the next setting.
Yeah, it kind of felt a little cangy in that aspect, right? You kind of build. If you can get that first encounter set, that's the good one, right? It's not really impacting you too much. And then you can kind of bide your time in that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will say I have very similar feelings. I think overall, as a scenario, is it fun to play? Yes. It was good, but I don't feel like it was great. And some of your points is what I was lacking. I didn't feel like me chasing Dark Beast through these times translated well. Like, it just didn't feel that way. I didn't have a sense of like urgency to kind of beat him to the next portal, or that I was actually like chasing him to the next spot. The other thing I was going to ask you is, he's stuck with these three, right? These are your only three options you have.
Correct.
What is your thoughts on that? You do have one other modular set that you can throw in to kind of spice things up a little bit, but you've always got to have these three.
I think overall I'm okay with it. I don't feel like you have to have like 7 different versions. I mean, if you could, that'd be cool, but I don't think you need it. So I was fine with having 3. I just think thematically I would have preferred different ones of those 3. But ultimately, like, that's not a deal breaker for me. I think it's the main thing that I didn't like was just it didn't have good pacing. It just felt very same. Of like, all right, here's the villain, just go through whatever they're throwing at you and you win. There was no like pressure of like, we need to get moving or he's going to jump to the next time and lose us.
Right. That kind of like, that's one thing I liked about the Sinister scenario, is it kind of got you to his third main scheme or whatever. Like, you had those two main schemes that were kind of shorter paced.
Mm-hmm.
That you kind of, if you could keep them from popping, the longer it took, the kind of better it was for you for the whole game. But if it did pop really quick and you got to that last stage, you were kind of set on a clock at that point. And I liked that pacing and that feel to that scenario, and I just felt like it was lacking. That feel was lacking. Not that it should be the same by any means, but I just didn't feel like it at all.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like it was missing so much that I even like I played a solo game of where I was like, I'm going to put counters on this, and I did like I can't remember exactly how I did it, but I think I did 4 counters. So every turn you place a counter, and once he has 4, you switch to the next setting. Like he's jumping time, and but you can do all 3. I mean, it's random, but you still do all 3, and if he jumps again, you lose.
Right, you get them all out, and then if you, kind of like in the Mojo set, if you go to grab another setting and there's none there, you lose the game, right?
Yeah, and I did it, and it time-wise, it seemed fine, and I liked it a little bit more because number one, I got to experience all 3 of them and what they can bring to the table, but also it gave that pressure of like, okay, it's about to flip over, so if I want to do anything now's the time. It's about to flip, and I might not get the setting I want, or if it's the last one, like I know I'm going to get this one, so I better, kick it into gear here.
Sadly, it's not that way. I do have another question about the modulars. So, do you find that these add value to other scenarios? Because you could always throw one of these in and give a villain retaliate, steady, or what's the last one do? Guard. Minions gaining guard. So,
yeah, I think they all three can totally be used in other settings or in other scenarios and work pretty good. I think you can really be even tougher on you by like doing Blue Moon with a very heavy minion scenario and just make it harder for you.
there you go. You heard it from Ryan. Blue Moon Zola.
Gosh, that would be rough. Or Blue Moon Ultron.
Ugh.
Making all those Ultron droids.
Guard, yeah.
Guard, yeah.
Ugh. That would be awful. That'd be a challenge.
That'd be interesting.
This one, if you've got a hero that's very minion specific, like it wants minions to do what it does, this might be a scenario that you can thrive in with that character. Maybe Valkyrie could start pulling her weight a little bit.
But I mean, this might be a scenario that I homebrew that little pacing thing just to try to change things up, make it a little more exciting. But I don't know. It's definitely one that I won't revisit all the time, but I definitely will revisit it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was a good one, but I don't know how often I'm going to be like, ooh, I want to go play Dark Beast.
Yeah. It just doesn't have a lot of staying power in the top of the villain list.
I like that,
Vinion list. Vignette.
All right, are we gonna officially grade it, or?
Oh no, we're not grading until the last till we do Apocalypse, because you said we're not grading until the very end.
Okay, thank you, Pastel, for not grading it. All right, well, I guess with that we'll travel through time and ask everybody their thoughts on Dark Beast. Do you share our opinions? Do you think it's the greatest one ever? Do you love Velociraptors? We want to know. You can reach out to us at marvelchumpionspod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, we appreciate you listening. And if you want to go from a chump to a champ, listen to the Marvel Champions podcast. Thanks.
Alan.
Alan.